between Austin Peay and Louisville. It's time to get started. Let's send you there now. Craig Bolerjack and Dan Bonner.
Welcome to the Jefferson Civic Center in Birmingham, Alabama. Game 3 of the day, and the match is Austin Peay, the 13th seed in the East, against the 4th seed Louisville Cardinals. Now the winner of this game will move on to play either Butler or Mississippi State. That's our late game here in Birmingham. Cal and Oklahoma have already advanced. And hi everybody, I'm Craig Bolerjack along with Dan Bonner. Louisville rolls in here at 24-6. Rick Pitino, Dan, has a nice mix of players, but his star is Reese Gaines.
Reese Gaines, one of the top guards in the country, leads this team in scoring, leads them in assists, leads them in steals. This is a guy that takes the ball inside, can find his teammates. He's also an excellent three-point shooter, number 4 all time in Louisville history, and he does a great job getting into the lane and getting to the free throw line. This is a team with experience, with depth, with talent, but Reese Gaines is clearly the leader.
Now Austin Peay has a shooter and a shot blocker, and his name, Josh Lewis. Watch out, good player.
One of the more interesting stories of this NCAA tournament, this is a young man that really didn't start playing organized basketball until he was in high school. A little bit clumsy when he arrived on campus at Austin Peay, but now at 6'8", 220 pounds, this guy, a shot blocker inside, 64% shooter. He has to be a force tonight.
Now Rick Pitino knows this floor in Birmingham very well, and for that, let's go to the third member of our team. Courtside, here's Brett Haber.
Guys, thanks very much. You know, Austin Peay may not have any history against Louisville, but they definitely have history against Rick Pitino, and they have been waiting about 16 years for revenge. 1987 was the year. Austin Peay was just moments away from advancing to the Sweet 16 in the tournament until they were beaten in overtime by Providence, a Providence team that was coached by, yes, Rick Pitino. The Friars would go on to the Final Four that year. Pitino's career was launched, and the folks at Peay have been waiting a decade and a half to get their revenge, guys.
Well, tonight they get their chance. Look at Rick Pitino. He's been well-traveled, as we all know, during his coaching career. Won that national championship in '96 with the Kentucky Wildcats. Pitino's starting lineup tonight here in Birmingham, and his front court will include Luke Whitehead and Marvin Stone, a 6'10 senior averaging just under 11 points a game. Dean, Gaines, and Brown, his three-guard lineup. Dave Luce is the head coach at Austin Peay. His 13th year in Clarksville, making his second NCAA tournament appearance. And his lineups tonight for the Austin Peay Governors, he will go with Adrian Henning and Josh Lewis. Henning, a junior, averaging just over 15 points a game. In his backcourt, talented Corey Gibson, Anthony Davis, and Rhett Wiersbe.
Greg, we mentioned this Louisville team. As you get a look at our officials, Ed Corbett, Charles Rain, Perry Weimer, this is a Louisville team with experience, with depth and talent. But interestingly enough, only 2 players on the Louisville squad have ever played an NCAA tournament game before, one being Reese Gaines and the other Marvin Stone, who played in the NCAA tournament at Kentucky.
Louisville leads the series, as you see, 2-0, and the Cardinals are coming off the Conference USA tournament victory, beating UAB 83-78. Austin Peay, by the way, hot of late. They won the Ohio Valley Conference tournament, beating Tennessee Tech 63-57.
And the clock has not started. Now it has. It was showing at 20 minutes, and then as soon as they blew the horn, it started. Now, one thing, if your brackets depend upon how the teams dress, both of these teams, their colors red and white, but Louisville has the red shoes. You remember the movie where they were in Las Vegas and they had the flying Elvises? These guys might be the flying Dorothys.
That's right. That's the one way to differentiate tonight between Louisville and Austin Peay. It's all about the red shoes. Just don't click your heels, okay?
Now, not until later. We certainly don't want to go to Kansas. We're having a good time here in Alabama. Man-to-man for Austin Peay.
Long three-point shot falls through, and Louisville starts with the 3 ball and Eric Brown, a senior from Lexington.
Louisville's got a number of guys who shoot the 3 effectively. Eric Brown is one of them. Austin Peay, a very, very strong defensive team.
Back the other way. They try to counter with the 3, but Gibson's shot is off the mark.
And that ball did not hit the rim, so the shot clock is not reset because Louisville never really had possession of it. This is what Reese Gaines does. Drives into the middle. You can see the red shirts collapse around him. That leaves Brown open for three.
On the inbound pass, a two-pointer. Anthony Davis with a nice stroke. Sophomore from Inglewood, California.
Davis, another one of those guys, is very good at taking the ball into the lane, creating opportunities.
Nice feed down low. Little turnaround, Whitehead.
And you may hear the Louisville fans chanting Luke. They are not booing. Whitehead has 4 consecutive double-doubles. Whitehead was the MVP of the Conference USA tournament.
Dan, Luke's last 4 games, 14 points, 13 rebounds, and he's hit 20 of 23 from the free throw line.
And that's with Ellis Miles being lost for the season for a knee injury. Louisville needed some help inside, and Whitehead has certainly provided it. Now Whitehead picks up the foul.
That will be the first, the team's first. There's Rick Pitino, second year in Louisville.
Since losing Ellis Miles to a season-ending knee injury, Louisville not quite as strong inside. They have, over their last 4 or 5 games, really picked up the defensive pressure. So Austin Peay, a team that turns it over a lot, is going to have to handle that Louisville pressure.
Yeah, Miles was hurt and tore his right patellar tendon against Marquette late February. Long shot rattles in. Nice stroke by Henning.
Henning's a big guy at 6'6", but he can shoot the three.
Averages just over 15 points a game.
And
there's a block.
Lewis trying to help out on defense, picks up the foul. Lewis is such an imposing presence on the inside. 80 blocked shots on the year. They cannot afford to have him in foul trouble.
Couple of early threes by both teams. The knuckleball wouldn't fall. Loose ball. Austin Peay has it. Adrian Henning. He'll slow it up for the traffic to pass by. To the corner. On the drive, they double down on the baseline. No whistle. 20 on the shot. Plenty of time. Wiersbe. Nice shot. Swoops in. Couldn't get it to go. And up top for the rebound is Stone, the 6'10 senior. There's Reese Gaines dancing down the lane. Got caught up. Kicks it back to Stone. It belongs to Austin Peay.
We really see what Louisville wants to do. Run the ball up the court and give it to Reese Gaines. The key to the Louisville offense is Gaines' ability to get in the middle and make things happen.
Austin Peay 23-7, 13-3 in the Ohio Valley Conference, while Louisville ran off 24-6 and 11-5 in Conference USA. From the corner, back off the rim, and the rebound goes to Louisville. Reese Gaines across midcourt. Brown works it up top. Little swooping shot. Nicely done. Good control. Eric Brown off to a nice start, Dan. 5 points, including that early three.
Well, Josh Lewis was not nearly as aggressive that time, coming off, helping on the screen. They're going to get a foul on Stone. Now, a lot of teams have different philosophies of the way they play defense, but Austin Peay, lots of times, they do not like to switch the screens. And Lewis got caught in the middle there with Davis. Lewis didn't know whether to switch or not to switch, and as a result, Brown goes all the way to the basket.
And Dan, you make the point. You made it nicely. Dave Luce, his philosophy is very simple, man-to-man. That type of defense will win you championships. And right now, Henning having a nice start.
And now Gibson's going to pick up the foul. And each of these teams trying to be very aggressive in their man-to-man defense. Now here is the one holdout coming in the game for Louisville, Francisco Garcia, the freshman of the year in Conference USA. And why is he a holdout? He's the only guy out there with white shoes for Louisville. Told me he didn't like the red shoes. They hurt his feet.
So he's staying with his good white shoes that are broken in nicely. Gaines gives it up to Stone. Strong move, blocked away as he went strong with his left hand. Henning got it. Quickly, it's Gibson. Driving baseline, puts it off the window. (9-7) Austin Peay at the 13th seed against number 4 Louisville.
Oh my, there's a foul on Gaines. He and Gibson are really going at one another.
Gaines' first foul and a good start here in Birmingham. Austin Peay by 2.
CBS.
Austin Peay has hit 4 of their first 7. Louisville 3 of 6.
And if you're an underdog trying to pull an upset in the NCAA tournament, one of the pieces to the puzzle is to have a good start. And certainly Austin Peay has not fallen behind really. They're off to a very good start.
Early confidence. Gibson to the corner is Anthony Davis. Ball was tipped, blocked away back. It goes to Davis. Stepped out of bounds. That was Gibson.
You don't want to turn the ball over against Louisville, but if you're going to have a turnover, Dave Luce would prefer that kind of a turnover because Louisville takes the ball out of bounds. You get a chance to set your defense.
Turnovers are even at 2 apiece. 15. The senior from Madison, Wisconsin. 4th all-time scorer at Louisville. Austin Peay trying to break some pressure in that backcourt. They do. Wiersbe gives it off and a whistle.
Louisville is so good with applying pressure. And one of the things to be a good pressure team, you have to be able to react to situations once they beat your first line of defense, and that's what Stone did. Holds his ground, Wiersbe not able to get stopped, and turns the ball over with the charge.
Stone comes up top for the Cardinals.
You can't be a good pressing team unless you can effectively defend 2-on-1 and 3-on-1 situations.
Around and out for Gaines, who just knocked down the 3.
Louisville stays in the man-to-man. We haven't seen any full court pressure from Louisville yet.
17 on the shot. Henning on the drive, pulls up to fade away. Got it.
Wow, that is a tough shot.
You know, they call him elastic.
Well, you can see why.
Well, he fell away, and that ball just arching up and in. He hits 56% of his shots. Rebound battle for it. It's won by Austin Peay.
And that was a great job by Henning because Whitehead had inside position, and Henning just outfought him for the ball.
Dean, the freshman, with a rebound.
Austin Peay is only getting 1 shot.
Gaines, hard off the iron.
Boy, there's Lewis. What a great job going up. Great position against Stone.
Gibson works the wing, back up top, on the drive. Davis, loose ball. 3-on-1. Reese Gaines with the layup.
And that's the kind of turnover you can't have, Craig. That's a transition turnover because Louisville's able to take the ball and head the other way with it.
Louisville up by 1, 12-11. Adrian Henning leading the scoring for Austin Peay with 7. Gaines and Eric Brown with 5 apiece for Louisville.
I think Austin Peay would like to force Louisville to spend a little time in the shot clock playing defense. Austin Peay is not a deliberate team, but they don't mind turning the ball, moving their offense from side to side.
Wiersbe pulls up, tries the 3, too strong.
Boy, nobody going to the boards. Austin Peay, everybody running back the other way.
Garcia was uncontested on the rebound. Gaines behind that arc. Now they drop it low block to Whitehead. Turnaround shot, no. Tips. Garcia has it. A fresh clock. Takes it strong and lays it in. Francisco Garcia from Bronx, New York. His first bucket, averaging, Dan, just over 11 points a game. Quickly the other way. The ball was tipped, and then it was laid in by Josh Lewis.
Shades of Lorenzo Charles.
Oh, it's almost a carbon copy. Louisville by 1. 12:20 left in this opening half. Marvin Stone, big fella up top, hands off Garcia. Nice give and go. First bucket for Stone. Quickly, transition, and a flush. Oh, Anthony Davis pops the rim, and we're back and forth. Louisville, 16-15.
That was really a great play. He had to reach out, stretch out to catch that ball, and then to land on both feet and go up and dunk it. What an amazing play.
Both teams shooting 50%. Stone pulls up, hits it. Marvin Stone, 6'10", makes it look easy out of Huntsville, Alabama.
Can't get the ball inbounds.
Timeout in Birmingham. 11:40 in this opening half. 18-15 Louisville. And it's Marquise Daniels of Auburn. How about 25 points, 8 rebounds in that 65-63 overtime win over St. Joseph's. And for more great performances as they happen, go to NCAAsports.com.
And Auburn, a team that a lot of people were complaining should not have been in the tournament, but with a big win against St. Joe's, I think they show they belong. Cliff Ellis in his press conference after that game speaking very forcibly about how his team did deserve to be there, and he didn't want to hear any more of that stuff from anybody.
Adrian Henning high off the glass. And Henning on fire. Dan Early with 9. He is elastic.
I looked a little elastic. There's Taekwon Dean. Boy, you can tell why Austin Peay is sprinting back on defense. Louisville really doing a great job pushing it up.
You know, since that injury to Ellis Miles, Pitino has gone with more of a smaller pressing lineup, and they do not hesitate to put backcourt pressure on when necessary.
And Austin Peay has had trouble at times this year when they turn the ball over.
Up top, a wide open look at a 3, too strong. Garcia had it, lost it. It will be Austin Peay basketball. 10:54 remaining in this opening half in Birmingham. Timeout. Louisville leading by 3. Garcia brought it down court for Louisville. Now he'll take the 3 ball. Hard off the rim, and the rebound goes to Maurice Hampton, who's checked in for Austin Peay. Where's what?
Austin Peay really not getting any offensive rebounds because they're so concerned about getting back on defense, and that means their shot selection has to be very good. They cannot afford to take bad shots.
Another 3 try, around and out. Good look by Gibson. Here comes Louisville. Tipped away. Garcia couldn't handle it. Gibson makes contact and a whistle, and it's going to go against 52 Otis George.
We mentioned that Louisville does a great job in transition. Well, Austin Peay, they get the steal. They don't mind running out either. That is really a good play by Gibson to try to get that ball up on the board. Rick Pitino not happy with that turnover.
Corey Gibson going blind to the zone.
78% free throw shooter is Corey Gibson. Makes the first. Get complete NCAA tournament coverage with live updated brackets and the latest developments on the road to the Final Four. It's all at CBSSportsLine.com or on America Online. Just enter keyword CBS Sportsline. Gibson with another.
Now Haji Muhammad in the game for Louisville. Another one of those guys that's been playing a little bit more since Ellis Miles got hurt. Boy, Louisville just clamps on the pressure. Or excuse me, Austin Peay clamps on the pressure there. Louisville lucky to keep it.
It's a 1-point game. Out goes Otis George for Louisville, and back in is Luke Whitehead. And here comes Reese Gaines across midcourt. Under 10 minutes left in this opening half.
Now this is something you don't see very often, and that is Austin Peay in a zone.
Gaines puts it on the floor, kicks Garcia, slides in, and then dishes off nicely to Whitehead. 2 buckets for Whitehead.
Now here's the Louisville pressure.
Austin Peay throws it away. Garcia has it. 4-on-2 inside, and the drop shot. Haji Muhammad, his first bucket off the bench. Another steal. Gaines, Muhammad.
What great pressure.
Dan, we mentioned the smaller pressing lineup that Rick Pitino has gone with since that injury to Ellis Miles, but in the last 2 or 3 possessions, I've never seen anything more suffocating. And it continues. Another steal, Garcia. The floater wouldn't go. The putback does, and it's Whitehead.
Well, it's hard to score if you can't get the ball over half court.
Finally, Austin Peay does. Anthony Davis nearly stripped.
Boy, Louisville just devouring Austin Peay. You can't be moving away from the ball in that kind of pressure because you know somebody's coming after the pass. You have to step to the ball. Another thing Louisville does very well is they rebound the ball real effectively in transition, as Luke Whitehead did right there.
Louisville down on an 8-0 run. That's the 46th time this season they've gone on an 8-0 run or better.
You mentioned Austin Peay sometimes has problems handling the ball. Louisville hadn't been pressing, and I think they really surprised the Governors with their press.
Al-Haji Muhammad nearly with the steal on the inbounds. 29 seconds on the shot clock. 8:35 before half. And you know that's an issue Dave Luce has to address when they hit the locker room.
If he's got the good fortune of waiting until they hit the locker room, you got to do something about this right now. You got to get a basket.
Wide open. Here's Bud. The tip wouldn't go. Battling. Slows it up.
And what Louisville has done right now is they have Austin Peay playing in a little bit more hurry than they want to play. So even when they get an open shot, it's in and out.
Muhammad, D'Artez, fall away jumper, hit it. Kendall D'Artez, his first bucket, and he shoots 51% from the floor. 2-on-2, back they go, the bucket, count it. And an opportunity for a three-point play for Josh Lewis.
When you're attacking pressure, the one place where you can usually have success, no matter what kind of pressure it is by getting the ball to the middle. And that's what happens. They get the ball to a guy running in the middle, is able to get it to Lewis. Nice pass by Gibson, and Lewis, who we talked about before the game, he really hasn't been a big part of this game because it's been so up and down. He's much more a back to the basket kind of guy.
So Josh Lewis will toe the line. You know, you mentioned it, Dan, that Lewis came to school awkward as a freshman. He took a karate class and got in the weight room, and he found himself plenty of playing time.
Boy, that's a great hustle play by Wiersbe.
Three-pointer by Gibson. Marvin Stone with the rebound. Here comes Louisville.
Gibson really struggling from the three-point line. He's the best three-point shooter for Austin Peay, but he hadn't been able to get it to go.
Hey, Gaines made that happen. He dribbled, he drove, and then he saw Marvin Stone standing all by himself, and he hits the jumper. 6 points on 3 jumpers by Marvin Stone. To break the press. Davis with the slam on the other end. 32-23 Louisville. Coming up on 6 minutes left in this opening half. Well, the pace has been furious.
And how big was that spurt by Louisville? Austin Peay has played even with the Cards except for that spurt.
Gaines bumped on his way to the basket by Gibson. That will be his second.
And Gibson's going to have to come out.
And they lose their defensive stopper. Timeout. 5:57 left here in Birmingham, Louisville. 32, Austin Peay, 23.
For their defensive set.
All right, let's get you back to Birmingham, Austin Peay, and Louisville. 35-23, the 4th seed Cardinals. Craig Bolerjack and Dan Bonner.
35-23 Louisville. Coming up on the 5-minute mark of this first half. Tough defense, pressing defense by the Cardinals, and there's another turnover. Here comes Louisville. Northern brings it up.
When they really get out and go when they get that turnover.
Otis George wants it on the low block. Austin Peay, Dan, now with 8 turnovers. Louisville is taking care of the ball very well this first half with just 3. And speaking of threes, Bryant Northern knocks it down from long range. Here's a guy that was a walk-on, played his first 2 years without a scholarship, and finally was awarded one this season. Back the other way. Austin Peay with the flush. Josh Lewis with 6 points.
And that's a break for Austin Peay right there, because Henning really ran over Marvin Stone. That could have been a charge call. Just because you beat that initial pressure, don't think Louisville's going to make it easy for you.
On the reach in, Anthony Davis with the foul.
Now, Marvin Stone is back protecting the basket, the goalkeeper, if you will. Here comes the offense. That's Henning. He runs right over Stone. That's really a good effort by Stone. Not really very much he can do. Try to take the charge. Very nearly got it right there. So he's, as I say, a break for Austin Peay. Stone doing a pretty good job as the back line of that defense.
Stone already with 3 buckets, 6 points, averaging just under 11. Ball was kicked, so they'll reset the shot clock at 35. 4:03 left before half.
And Louisville really has the game at a pace with which they are comfortable.
Dean, the freshman. Pulls up inside the 3 line, had a good look. Northern rebounds the miss. Louisville right now getting 1, 2, maybe 3 shots at it, but finally Austin Peay covers up on the defensive end.
Louisville's doing such a great job moving the ball and moving people that when they do take a shot, they've got the defense out of position.
Oh, what a shot as he leans in. Josh Lewis with a chance for a 3-point play.
Remember, we talked about Lewis being a back-to-the-basket player. Well, you've got to run some half-court sets to get Lewis really involved. And when Austin Peay's been able to do that, Lewis has been able to produce for them. That's a very good catch. That ball nearly went out of bounds, but Lewis not only caught it, he recovered, he collected himself, put it in the basket.
He shoots 63%, Dan, from the floor. Missed the opportunity for the 3-point play. He shoots 69% from the free throw line, a little bit short. 38-27. Under 3.5 minutes left in this opening half. Reese Gaines. Little head fake. D'Artez. Now Garcia puts it on the floor with his left hand. Dribbles, lost it. Trying to kick to D'Artez. Here comes Austin Peay. Out on the flush. And he knocks it down as Henning now in double figures with 11. And now a timeout, Louisville.
Henning's head was above the rim when he dunked that ball. That's unbelievable how high up off the ground he got.
He is elastic. Good look at that Louisville bench. Rick Pitino on a knee. 3:03 remaining.
And one of the things that Rick Pitino does when in response to this 6-0 Austin Peay run is number 22 comes back in the game.
And that is Reese Gaines, who's had a pair of threes, 8 points in this opening half. Gaines has it. Working on Wiersbe. Puts it on the floor, backs out, now tries baseline. Boy, draws the crowd. Plenty of red jerseys down along the paint. They couldn't block out, and the bucket goes to Whitehead.
Whitehead really such an effective inside player. That was great patience. That's an offensive foul against Davis, trying to force the action.
His second. Quite a collision down that baseline. And another timeout with 2:27 left. Louisville by 11. Back in Birmingham, Louisville leads by 11. And Dan, you look at the 3-point field goals. There's been threes aplenty, 22 attempts. But the difference so far has been that backcourt pressure by Louisville. 6 steals.
Those 6 steals a big key. Louisville 14 of 20 from 2, and this is the kind of 2 they're getting. The pressure steals the ball there. They get a dunk. Now Garcia takes it. They get a layup, and now Reese Gaines is really going to battle. This is a steal off the dribble, just turns it around immediately in the offense. Another dunk. You shoot a great percentage when you get that kind of shot.
And Dan, that's the time that Al-Haji Muhammad just jumped off the bench and got 2 easy buckets on that backcourt pressure. Louisville making 13 of their last 19 field goals. You do the math, that's nearly 70%. They have an 11-point lead, just over 2 minutes left. First half, Garcia on the dribble, the drive, spin, nice move, give off to George. Laid it on the floor, now Gaines toes the 3 line and hits it.
Got to give George some credit right there. Did a great job wrestling the ball away from Wiersbe, and then nobody was left to guard Gaines because Wiersbe was out of bounds.
Able to break the press. Henning.
Oh, what a half he's had.
Oh, 13 points for the 6'6" junior out of Memphis. And Reese Gaines, 11 points already tonight. And Dan, 98 career game in double figures. That speaks volumes.
And the problem for Austin Peay, they've got to get some defensive stops. Louisville just doing whatever they want on the offensive end.
Garcia crashes the boards. Loose ball. Now Dean has a good look. Off the iron, chased down, slapped. And Dean couldn't chase it down. Coming up on Singular at the half, Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg. Been a busy day and a busy night. They'll get you updated on all the tournament news, all the scores, all the highlights, plus a live look at all the action going on in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up on Singular at the half.
And Francisco Garcia is down and hurt, and he can't move really off of Rhett Wiersbe. Wiersbe's trying to get out of there.
Legs tangled up.
Garcia went down, and they're working on his left leg. May just have a cramp. Get an idea and see what happens. Garcia comes in. He's in the middle scrambling for the ball.
It looked like Wiersbe came over and maybe flexed that left knee a little bit.
Maybe get a better look at it right here. Garcia's going to come flying in and get the ball.
Yep, right there.
Wiersbe went down right across that left knee. You're right. Wiersbe going after the ball and just happened to catch that knee.
Has that extended and right there.
Boy.
Gets tangled up. Garcia, very talented freshman from Bronx. The Conference USA Freshman of the Year, as you mentioned, Dan. He's been in double figures 12 of his last 15. And his teammates now hustle onto the floor to try to help him off.
And that is a very scary thing for the Louisville Cardinals. They've already lost one of their best players, their leading rebounder, Ellis Miles, to a knee injury. And this kid has just been fabulous for them this year. Today's game, he's already got 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Oh my.
Yeah, that's tough. Garcia, 2 points, 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals. It proves that he's more than just a scorer. He's really everywhere, doing everything for Rick Pitino.
Oh boy. That does not look good.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. .108 left in this opening half. We'll try to check on the condition of Francisco Garcia. Contact, the shot would not fall down for Josh Lewis. Otis George picks up the foul, his second.
Oh my.
Josh Lewis knocks down the free throw. You saw the pictures there of Francisco Garcia being helped off as there he goes to the locker room. Out of the Bronx, a freshman, great talent, the Conference USA Freshman of the Year, was tangled up with Rhett Wiersbe of Austin Peay the last time down the court. And we saw several replays, Dan, where it looked as though the knee buckle. We'll try to get you updated. And
Well,
another
now
player's down.
Wiersbe's down. Wiersbe's the guy that got tangled up with Garcia. Now Wiersbe's down at midcourt. I was watching the ball. I did not see what happened. I think he ran into a screen.
Never saw it.
Well, Wiersbe is a guy that goes full speed all the time, and unless you're going to call the screen, he really got whacked, and I think he bounced his head off the floor.
Exactly.
He's trying to stay with Reese Gaines. He never sees George. Bang, down he goes.
Well, this has been a rugged minute and a half. So Wiersbe is forced to the bench, and the trainer will take a look at Wiersbe. Oh, boy. Carmichael brings it across midcourt. Under a minute to go. 43-33 Louisville. Little alley-oop. Threw it too deep. Now the turnaround fall away. Tough shot. Up for the rebound is Eric Brown. Shot clock off. Stepped out of bounds. You know, I was watching Taekwon Dean's eyes. He got a little lax. And then he lost the handle, tried to recover, and then stepped out.
And this is an opportunity for Austin Peay after they got shelled with that Louisville run and fell behind. They have an opportunity to cut this lead under 10 at halftime.
21 seconds to change. Austin Peay a chance to get back within single digits. Carmichael across midcourt. On his pocket is Dean. They go inside, double team, hit the side of the backboard. Boy, good defense by Louisville, man.
Boy, they have time.
4 seconds, 3 seconds. Dean, they give it off. Gartez, and then at the buzzer, they're going to count it. And the shot falls in for Eric Brown. At the buzzer.
Yeah, the clock in the lower right of your screen. Brown cuts into the middle. This is great patience. No panic right there. Ball out of his hand, just at 0.
45-33 at the half. Let's go courtside. Brett Haber with Rick Pitino.
Craig, thanks very much. Rick, about halfway through that first half, your guys turned up the heat on the defensive pressure, and man, did it pay dividends.
It comes off good shots. You attack the basket, good shots, you get into your press. We got some major problems. Francisco Garcia getting hurt because he's a big key to our offensive scheme.
We'll check on him during halftime. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you, Britt. And that does end the first half, 45-33. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station. And right after that, Greg Gumbel in New York. Halftime in Birmingham. Louisville leading Austin Peay 45-33. Craig Bolerjack, Dan Bonner, Brett Haber, our CBS crew here in Birmingham. Austin Peay missing their last 9 3-point shots. They were very close in this game early, but just couldn't hit from outside, Dan.
Well, I think it's not only that they couldn't hit from outside, Craig. I think Louisville did a great job on the defensive end. They got Austin Peay in a hurry, and when you play a team like Louisville, you just can't hurry.
Let's take a look at the first half stats in this game here in Birmingham.
And that Louisville defensive pressure, that's one of the reasons why Austin Peay, they're shooting 50%, but they've turned it over 6 times. Big difference. Louisville making 5 3-pointers. Austin Peay only one. You can see those 6 steals by Louisville really resulted in some easy baskets.
Let's go down courtside moments ago. Brett Haber had a chance to talk to Austin Peay head coach Dave Luce. Brett.
Coach, just 1 of 11 shooting from 3 in the first half, but moreover, when Louisville turned up the pressure, your guys seemed to have problems.
Yeah, about midway through the first half, we had 3 or 4 consecutive turnovers that cost us 6 or 8 points. So we got to take better care of the ball. They're shooting 55%. We got to get up in them better.
Coach, thanks very much. And guys, while we have a second, want to update the injured player situation. Francisco Garcia from Louisville being diagnosed with a bruised knee. Some concern that it might be more serious, a sprain or a ligament tear. They'll have to deal with that when they get to an MRI machine at some point in the future. Rhett Wiersbe from Austin Peay. He hit his head on the floor. No concussion. He's fine, guys.
All right, thank you, Brett. If it's a bruise for Francisco Garcia, that is tremendous news for Louisville. Of course, he'll be examined as the night progresses.
Now, Austin Peay has got to do a better job defensively. Dave Luce has been around long enough that he knows you can't give up as many easy looks at the basket as his team gave up in the first half and expect to beat a team like Louisville. So they've got to tighten up on the defensive end and get guys like Wiersbe involved in the game offensively.
Yeah, Wiersbe in that first half of play 0 for 3. There's a turnover. Louisville's going to try to break it down court. Gaines gives it off, and the 3 ball on the way around and out. Whitehead battles. Last touched by Austin Peay.
You mentioned Whitehead earlier, averaging 13 rebounds a game over his last 4 games, only 2 rebounds at halftime, but he's just one of those guys who always seems to be around the basketball.
Down the lane, they kick it, and the 3 ball's a little bit too short. Brown back to Gaines. He strokes it up and it won't go. Now they're tied up underneath.
I think that's going to be an over-the-back call against Stone.
And you are correct. That's 3 now on Marvin Stone. Picks up the quick foul less than a minute into the second half. And they have to make a substitution. Kendall D'Artez, the 6'10 junior, checks in.
Josh Lewis is at half court holding on to his elbow. It looks like in that tie-up with Stone, Lewis may have hurt his left elbow. He catches the ball there, seems okay.
Taekwon Dean picks up Gibson at midcourt. Louisville really showed some pressure in that first half, forcing 6 quick turnovers, and there's another one. Here comes Brown. Slows it up.
2 possessions, 2 turnovers for Austin Peay to start the second half.
Gaines drives hard and a whistle as he works his way down the paint.
And if that foul's against Gibson, that's number 3 on Corey Gibson.
Gibson indeed with his 3rd foul. Stone just picked up his 3rd for Louisville. Gaines inside the 3-point line. Now he puts it on the floor, dry, spins. Short on the turnaround, and it's picked up by Josh Lewis.
That's a disaster waiting to happen for Austin Peay, though, with Gibson continuing to match up on Gaines, because Gaines is going to give him a try just about every time. Man-to-man for Louisville.
Anthony Davis working against Brown. Trying to look inside, now drops it on the low block. They kick it, and another turnover. Dean got a hand on it. Brown has it. D'Artez, easy bucket off the window. D'Artez, who just came in for Marvin Stone with his 2nd bucket, 4 points.
Louisville's created those turnovers by double-teaming Josh Lewis when he gets the ball down inside, and Austin Peay just not reacting very well. That time they didn't come to double team, and Lewis knows what to do with it. Goes to the basket for the dunk. But every time they've come with the double team, Lewis has been in trouble.
He's now made 5 of 6 shots. 12 points for Josh Lewis.
There have been 10 guys playing this game for Louisville, and 9 of them have scored. Only 4 players have scored for Austin Peay. So great offensive balance by the Cardinals.
Davis lost it as he drove. They got a 2-on-1. Pull up for the 3, and it's down by Gibson. A 10-point game, 47-37. Boy, Gibson struggled with the shot in the first half, 1 of 5.
I think they called that a 2, Craig.
Foot on the line. So 6 for Gibson. And a timeout. 17-19 left in Birmingham, and we'll be back. 47-37. Dan, during the timeout, the officials walked to the scores table to take a look at that last shot by Corey Gibson.
Well, right there, that foot is clearly on the line. Clearly on the line now that we've got it stopped. Again, look right there. There's the line, toe right on the line. And you know, a lot of coaches say that that is the worst shot in basketball, with your toe on the line. You move back a fraction of an inch, you get an extra point.
Wiersbe nearly got the steal off the hip of Gaines.
A tough task for Wiersbe now, trying to match up against Gaines, and there Lewis is going to get the foul out on the perimeter against D'Artez.
That'll be his 2nd for Josh Lewis.
You know, it's interesting. The Louisville Cardinals shot no free throws in the first half, and that is the first time all season that Rick Pitino's club has not been to the free throw line in the first half.
Yet they went to the locker room with a 12-point lead. It's been shaved a bit down to 10, 47-37.
When there is Whitehead, he catches the ball on the drive to the basket, misses the shot, the ball bounces around, and whose hands does it wind up in? Well, it's Whitehead. Watch here as that ball squirts out of Gaines' hand. Whitehead not able to convert. The ball is hit once, and there's Whitehead again, just standing there waiting for it. It's a matter of being in the right place at the right time. Those are great hands right there. That ball came flying at him, and he was able to catch it.
Free throw for Whitehead. finds its way home.
First free throw for the Louisville Cardinals today.
Whitehead with 8 points in the first half. 6'7", 220-pound junior from San Francisco. Makes both double figures now. 5 straight double-figure games for Whitehead. Austin Peay.
Boy, Davis has been quiet after a fast start.
Davis had those 3 quick buckets. Now he puts it on the floor and jumps it a little bit too strong. Rebound loose, picked up, and put back by Josh Lewis. In Birmingham, 49-39, Louisville and Austin Peay. 16:31 remaining in the second half. Josh Lewis leading the way for the Governors of Austin Peay with 14. And has been Luke Whitehead with 10 points. Reese Gaines with 11 down in the first half.
And this is a game where Austin Peay just refuses to go away. Wiersbe gets called for the personal foul, but these teams played evenly in the first half until about midway through the half when Louisville turned up the pressure, forced 4 consecutive turnovers, scored after each of the turnovers, and Louisville's been able to maintain that spread.
Wiersbe picks up his 3rd foul. Corey Gibson also with 3 for Austin Peay.
And Wiersbe and Gibson between them have 106 three-point baskets on the season. Neither one of them with a 3 today. Louisville putting great pressure on.
Over and back.
But Davis knocked it away, but before the ball went across half court, it was touched by Louisville. We talked about Wiersbe and Gibson with 106 three-pointers on the season between them, 0 for 6 today. Brown touches that ball and then steps over the line, so that's why it's an over and back violation.
Dan, as a team, Austin Peay 1 of 11 from behind the arc.
They have had their best success going inside to Henning and Lewis.
Wiersbe cutting on the wing, brings it back up top, hands it off Henning. Got caught up, tried to feed inside. Now Anthony Davis, good movement, good patience. Hampton had a good look. Still alive, and a fresh shot clock for Henning.
Boy, Davis calling for the ball.
2 ties, 4 lead changes, and the biggest lead, 15 for the Cardinals. Yeah, we talk about threes. Austin Peay, they've missed their last 10 from behind the arc. Timeout in Birmingham, 9-point game. And we'll be back. In Birmingham, 49-40, Louisville and Austin Peay. It was 45-33, Dan, at the half, a 12-point Cardinal lead. You see those scoring leaders, 15 for Josh Lewis, and Reese Gaines with 11, but has yet to score this half. Whitehead pulls down the rebound.
11 consecutive three-point attempts missed by Austin Peay.
Wide open look, and a rebound.
Oh my,
Had been lost.
Davis and Lewis getting tangled up with one another, really both hustling after the ball. That is an unfortunate break for Dave Lewis's squad. Boy, a couple of opportunities, but there Lewis knocks Davis out of bounds. Well, that's frustrating.
Boy, a lot of contact as Gaines try to break through for the inbounds.
And that's 4 fouls against Gibson.
Gibson's 4th comes at the 15:02 mark. He'll have to take a seat. And Rhett Wiersbe, who has 3 fouls, will replace him, a junior from Farmington, Illinois.
Yeah, but Gibson really a non-factor so far on offense, and that's because he's gotten himself in foul trouble trying to guard Gaines.
Dartez, the rebound, and lays it up and in. Oh, you got to block out. Dartez with 6. Wiersbe brings it down for Austin Peay. 51-40 Louisville. 14-40 here in Birmingham left in the second half. And a whistle before the shot.
Foul against Dartez. That's where Austin Peay has had success, going inside to Henning, going inside to Lewis. In a situation right now, Dave Lewis's club, they really need to get some offense going, particularly from the three-point line. You can see only 1 of 13. They've missed their last 11 three-point attempts. Boy, great job by O'Bannon to get out there and cover that play.
Oh, look at the drive, the dribble, the shot. It wouldn't go, but a whistle underneath. Kendall D'Artez. Dan picks up foul number 2.
Davis drives hard to the basket. He had 6 early points, but then he has sort of disappeared from the offense. And here comes Francisco Garcia.
Unbelievable. What we saw in the first half with the leg buckling, you would think bad news. Brett Haber, our third member of our party, our staff, gave us a report, Dan, at halftime that Louisville said it was a bruise. And here he walks onto the court at 14:24 remaining.
Well, I think this is an indication, even if it is a bruise, this is an indication of how seriously Rick Pitino takes this second half effort here by Austin Peay to put Garcia back in the game. Garcia, a big key to the Louisville offense.
Whitehead rebounds the miss.
Austin Peay losing opportunities.
Garcia moving well, kicks, and the shot baseline is Whitehead.
And immediately Garcia makes a difference with that great penetration into the lane and then finds Whitehead. Here's the pressure again.
Whitehead with 12. Watch out from behind. They go to the corner. Wide open 3 off the iron, and Whitehead working both ends.
Look at him handle the ball.
The 3 drains it. Taekwon Dean, the freshman, with his first bucket this half, and the 12th straight game he's knocked down the 3 ball. A timeout.
Again, he stayed down a long time, did Garcia, and then limped off the court. Foul now called on the inbounds play against Taekwon Dean. But Garcia, he comes back in the game, and immediately Louisville goes on a 5-point spurt. He has an assist as part of that spurt.
Dean picks up his second foul. Garcia to this point, 2 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals and a block.
Oh, it's great hustle by Reece Gaines.
Yes, it is.
What a dynamite pass by Henning. He hit Hampton perfectly, but Garcia caught up. Talk about closing speed. Look at Gaines run down the court, find the ball, knock it out of bounds without fouling. That's a heck of a recovery.
Wiersma tries to work around the screen by Henning.
Great help.
Under 14 minutes left in this game.
Louisville's really turned up the half-court defensive pressure.
Traffic underneath, but the bucket drops for Lewis. 17 for the junior out of Lexington.
Good penetration, draws the defense, and Lewis has made himself available all night long.
You know, Dan, as we watch Lewis play, I can't believe the stories of his awkwardness as a freshman. He has come on. Pinned up against the glass. Turnaround, Whitehead, 3 chances and out. Still alive, and it's saved by Wiersma, but it falls into the hands of Gaines. Oh, Whitehead.
Oh, now that's great hustle by Wiersma, but you never save the ball in that situation unless you know you're going to save it to one of your own guys. Wiersma, watch Wiersma. He's going to get the ball. He throws it. It goes right to a Louisville player, and there's Wiersma. He's out of bounds. That's Mike Slive, the SEC commissioner over there. And because Wiersma's sitting in Mike Slive's lap, it's a 5-on-4 for Louisville, and they score. Now, there's Mike. There you go.
Austin Peay with the inbound. Under 13 minutes left, trying to break that pressure by Louisville.
You know, Mike has a good seat over there, but
Sure
he
does.
really has to keep those guys out of his lap.
From the corner, Davis, short on the 3.
Nothing from three-point range, and now Davis commits the foul.
Bumped him from behind, and he picks up his 3rd foul. 58-43. Here's the mini bracket here in Birmingham. To come is Mississippi State and Butler. 30 minutes following the conclusion of this game. Then Austin Peay has missed 13 in a row from behind the arc.
Well, the Louisville defense is really getting on them. They're not missing wide open threes most of the time. They're hotly contested.
Oh, behind the back, Gaines goes to the corner. Dean to George. Head fake. Look at the sharing of the ball. Whitehead off the glass.
Again, patience. Patience, but Whitehead just always going to the open spot. That was a nice play by George, but Whitehead, you really got to give him a lot of credit. He's just always around the ball.
16 now for Whitehead. And Louisville has opened up a 17-point lead with 12 minutes left. Wiersbe for three, drains it.
And that breaks that streak of 13 missed threes in a row. And that's the first time in this game that Wiersbe has scored.
His first bucket, 1 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 3 from behind the three-point line. Quickly down court, Louisville. They miss on the drive, and a strong drive by Gaines.
Garcia doesn't look any worse for wear, does he?
Absolutely not. Hampton drops it down baseline. Lewis tries to turn around. It's picked off. Collision. And a block. Wiersbe in foul trouble, Dan, with 4.
Wow. Gibson got 4 fouls trying to guard Gaines, and then when Gibson had to go out of the game, Wiersbe's trying to guard him. Now Wiersbe has 4 personal fouls. Gaines is just tough to guard. This is a situation where Gaines just crosses over and Wiersbe not quick enough with his feet. Tough play.
So 4 fouls on Wiersbe, and that will send Reese Gaines to the free throw line. Senior from Madison, Wisconsin. Makes the first. He had 11 points in the first half, now with 12.
Number 2 all-time at Louisville. You think of all the great players who have played at Louisville, but number 2 all-time at Louisville in terms of made free throws.
He's really a double-figure guy, Dan. This year, he's now 30 of 31 in double figures this season. Missed the second, but the rebound goes back to the Cardinals. The missed shot picked off by Austin Peay. Anthony Davis. Gibson back in. He has 4 fouls.
Still plenty of time left in the game for Austin Peay.
Whistle away from the ball down the lane, and it looks like it's going to be called on Otis George. If it is, it's his 3rd. It is.
Well, again, Louisville is a team. They've got size, they've got depth, they've got quickness, they've got experience. They can run a lot of guys in, so George is going to go out with his 3 fouls. Now Marvin Stone's going to come back in. Stone also has the 3 fouls.
Zach Shalater, a freshman from Columbia, Missouri, has checked in, and he'll shoot free throws.
Oh, he's going to get an extra one if he misses that one. Whitehead in way too early. You're not allowed to step in. If you're on the lane, you're not allowed to step in until the shooter releases the ball.
Well, near the conclusion of every NCAA tournament game, we will select the Chevrolet most valuable player of the game from each team. To date, Chevy has contributed more than $8 million to the university's general scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. 61-46 Louisville.
Slater got the reprieve, but he wasn't able to knock it down.
Loose ball, but a whistle. That will stop the break of Austin Peay.
Foul's going to be against Hampton.
Maurice Hampton. Just a freshman from Russellville, Kentucky. Plays about 15 minutes a game for Dave Luce. Garcia at the free throw line.
Has to be a little frustrating for Austin Peay. They have played just about even with Louisville, except for an 8-point spurt midway through the first half, and then a 5-point spurt here in the second half.
Garcia with 4 points and a timeout in Birmingham. Under 11 minutes to play, and Louisville leads big, 63-46. Winner of Mississippi State Butler. That will start a half an hour after the conclusion of this game.
And this is a Louisville team, and they have forced 15 Austin Peay turnovers and scored 22 points as a result of those turnovers, and that has been the killer for Austin Peay.
3-on-3, Penning around and out, loose ball coming our way, and it's going to be Austin Peay basketball.
This is a Louisville team that, remember, they are the last team to beat Kentucky. They had a 17-game winning streak through January and February.
.22 on the shot clock. Penning.
What's the time on the shot clock? There's no reason to get excited.
On the drive, the floater, a little bit wild. Boy, a lot of white jerseys after that rebound, and a hard fall to the deck.
This has been a very high-paced, high-octane kind of game, and Hampton going after that ball just bounces off, and it landed right on his tailbone.
That's Maurice Hampton, the freshman. You're right. You hate to see that leg kind of get twisted around, and then you know the tailbone's going to take most of that impact.
I think that's the way this game has been played, though. These guys are throwing their bodies around. Great hustle on both sides.
And a nice round of applause from the crowd here in Birmingham. No, you're right, Dan. I mean, we saw Francisco Garcia go down and concerned about that injury, but then makes his way back onto the court with about 15 minutes left in the second half, and was another little spark plug for Louisville.
He came back in the game, and just like that, 5 points. And that was a situation where Austin Peay had cut the lead to 9. In fact, Austin Peay had it at 9 and had 2 or 3 opportunities to cut into that 9-point lead. They weren't able to do it, and suddenly Louisville exploded.
Garcia feeds to the corner, long 3 off the mark. Ripped down by Austin Peay. Wiersbe is in, playing with 4 fouls.
Gibson with those 4 fouls as well, but they need their firepower in the game now.
Under 10 minutes to play. Well, there's that double team. Baseline in trouble. They break it. Josh Lewis now. Wiersbe from way out. Ball was blocked. That starts the break. Muhammad. The follow. Garcia. 6 points for Francisco Garcia.
Boy, Louisville really impressive on the defensive end. We talked about their defense against the 3-point shot. Muhammad does a great job blocking the ball. Now, he got off balance and missed the shot, but there, running the court is Garcia. This is a wide open layup, but Garcia, even though they have the big lead, he hustles down the court. The Austin Peay guys jogging a little bit, and as a result, they give up an easy basket. You can't figure that guy's going to make the layup.
Bad pass by Stone. Wiersbe. Now the 3 by Gibson. Well, the shot from long range will not go down for Austin Peay. Whitehead has hustled all night. He works it, weaves it, pulls up the jumper, tried to bounce it off the glass, and now a whistle underneath.
Let's see who they get. Stone is trying to hide down there. He already has 3 fouls, but I think they got Garcia.
Stone's a hard one to hide at 6'10", 245. Garcia the foul, his first.
And this is that game against Kentucky. This is the last game lost by the Kentucky Wildcats. What a grudge match that always is, Louisville against Kentucky.
Now even more so because of the Pitino connection. Of course, Rick winning the national championship with the Kentucky Wildcats back in '96. Free throw falls good in for Henning. And the second.
We saw that tournament record of Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino, now one of 4 guys who have taken 4 different teams to the NCAA tournament. Lefty Drizel went with Davidson, Maryland, James Madison, Georgia State, Jim Herrick with Pepperdine, UCLA, Rhode Island, and Georgia, and Eddie Sutton with Creighton, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Oklahoma State.
Quite a fraternity, isn't it?
Absolutely. Wow, those are some pretty good coaching names. And Rick Pitino, of course, we've talked about Providence in Kentucky, but he also went to the NCAA tournament with Boston University and now with the Louisville Cardinals.
Over the back is Henning. And the first on Henning. That sends Whitehead to the free throw line. Luke Whitehead, Dan, impressive not only offensively, but just on his defensive prowess tonight. He has really worked both ends well.
Well, he has. There he is, his 5th straight double-double. 17 points, 10 rebounds. And that doesn't begin to talk about how many loose balls he comes up with, how many times he gets his hands on the basketball. What a valuable guy to have.
Brown drives, Stone spinning, contact underneath, and the big fella Stone will shoot a pair.
It has been very physical on the inside. Nice spin move by Stone, and boy, that attracts some red shirts.
Third foul on Josh Lewis. Stone misses the first. 65-48 with 8:35 left. Second shot won't go. Ripped down. The rebound by Josh Lewis. And now Levi Carmichael in for Austin Peay. The three won't go. That's been the story again all night.
Even when you get a wide open look, you expect somebody to come running at you.
Whitehead and Muhammad. El Haji Muhammad.
Now that guy can really, really get up in the air. And Austin Peay calls a timeout.
This one getting out of hand. Louisville 67, Austin Peay 48. We'll take a timeout in Birmingham and be right back. Dan, you look at the game summary, 19-point Louisville lead. The rebounds dominated by the Cardinals with 12, plus 12. And Dan, the steals, again, 10 by the Louisville Cardinals have just turned into many points on the other's end.
Wow, that's one of the reasons why Louisville's shooting 67%. They steal the ball and they get easy shots.
Wiersbe tied up. Nice entry pass. Foul from behind. Lewis will shoot from the free throw line. Eric Brown picks up the foul.
Now this Louisville squad really appears to be a dangerous team to me. It's one of those squads where they play you tough and you think, wow, I'm hanging in the game, we're doing a pretty good job, and then all of a sudden they explode. And those spurt teams sometimes, they can really demoralize you.
You know, Dan, there was a slump by Louisville in mid to late February. They lost to Memphis at Cincinnati, a game that Pitino was kicked out of about 12 minutes left in the half.
Well, he'd seen enough. They lost 101 to 80. He didn't need to watch any more of that.
They followed up with a loss to Marquette, and then they won 5 of their last 6. Stone dunks it with one hand.
They're really doing a great job now, moving the ball, and this is a time period where Austin Peay, they're getting a little bit desperate, so they're trying to put some more pressure on the ball, and Louisville using their quickness to go around and create easier opportunities.
On the drive is Lewis.
He really has been a bright spot.
19
for Austin Peay.
19 points for Lewis, and Henning has dropped in 16. Not much after that.
Louisville has just done such a great job defending those guys out on the perimeter. Very few open looks.
Brown puts up the shot. Austin Peay from the Ohio Valley Conference. They won the postseason championship with that Tennessee over Tennessee Tech, 63-57. You got to go back and talk about Louisville a little bit, as that three ball won't go out of Conference USA. I think that late season slump in February, I don't know what turned on Louisville, but they just seem to be playing more cohesive defense as we've seen tonight. and making big shots. Bucket by Henning.
Well, remember, they lost Ellis Miles, their leading rebounder, and basically they really had to change their philosophy a little bit. Wiersbe hustling after the ball but doesn't get it, so they've gone more to the defensive pressure. And this guy, Gaines, has been a stalwart all year long. Whenever you lose a guy like Ellis Miles, nobody has to do everything as Louisville gets the timeout, but each guy has to do a little bit more. And I really think that has worked for Rick Pitino's team, particularly Luke Whitehead.
Back in Birmingham, looking at the tournament summary, Dan, Conference USA record will soon be even up at 2-2. The top 4 seeds, 11-1. The 13 seeds are 1-2. Tulsa winning yesterday.
Well, interestingly enough, Dayton losing that game to Tulsa, the only one of the 4 of the 16 top seeds to thus far lose a game. Marquette, the one winner there in Conference USA. Memphis falling, as well as Cincinnati. Cincinnati losing to Gonzaga. Memphis losing to Arizona State.
Strong move, fouled, and that will send Whitehead to the free throw line. Let's check the CBS Sports Line stat of the game, and it is steals. You see on the season about 7 and change for Louisville. Tonight, 10. Get complete game stats at cbssportsline.com or on America Online. Enter keyword CBS Sports Line.
You saw that 7.2 average for Louisville for steals on the year, but in the last 6 games leading into this game with that change in philosophy a little bit with Ellis Miles being out, Louisville averaging 9 steals.
Smaller lineup and a more pressing defense for Pitino. Whitehead with 18. More than double his season average. What a game for Luke. We'll take a break. 5:55 to go.
He's an assistant coach. Another one of his sons, David, does play-by-play for the radio broadcast. His daughter, Nikki, is on the dance team. Coach says he'd like to expand the staff in the athletic department. He's just running out of children.
Oh, very good. Under 6 minutes left. Strong to the hole goes Davis, and a whistle. Otis George picks up the foul. That will be 4.
This is really good offensive execution. Henning finds Davis cutting back door, but Louisville has contested everything tonight. You know, they've contested the 3-point shooting for Austin Peay and blocked a couple of those shots.
70% shooter from the line, makes the first.
Now you may notice Davis, as he shoots the free throw, he has a tattoo on his arm, and that tattoo says R.I.P. Teresa Davis. That's his grandmother, so he rubs it and then he taps his heart. His grandmother passed away here last year.
Makes both free throws. You know, Davis, Dan, had early season trouble with his shot, and Lou set him down, but then he went on a tear, double figures with 17 straight, dating back to January 16th against Tennessee Tech. He's one away from keeping that streak alive.
Well, I don't know that Davis had trouble with his shot. I think Dave Lewis had trouble with Davis's shot, mainly that Davis was taking it too much and in the wrong situation. But they finally got in communication about what was and was not a good shot, and Davis has just had an outstanding year.
Dean spins, kicks it to the corner, and the shot is buried by Whitehead. And the night continues. He's hit 20. Junior out of San Francisco. The lead now 75-54. Carmichael has it for Austin Peay, guarded by the freshman Tyquan Dean. There's Henning. Turnaround jumper off the iron. Louisville continuing just to put pressure on. They are pushing tempo, and Gaines with the fall away.
And that is a great way to explain what Louisville has done. They keep the pressure on you defensively, but they keep the pressure on you offensively as well. They really get down the court.
Gaines, by the way, one of 20 finalists for the Naismith Award. He's put down 16 on the night. Under 5 minutes left. Still wants more with the ball. Got tied up. And now a whistle. Later tonight here on CBS, first round games continue in the East. Butler, Mississippi State right here. Alabama, Indiana. UNC, Wilmington, and Maryland. And also Sam Houston State taking on the 2 seed, the Florida Gators.
And a lot of people really wondering about that Alabama-Indiana game. Alabama, a team that was in December ranked #1 in the country, fell all the way out of the top 25. But if Alabama can shoot it, they are a formidable basketball team. And Indiana's been up and down this year too. And Florida, they're playing against Sam Houston State. That's a 2-15 game. But Florida comes into this tournament not really playing very well. A lot of questions about the Gators. Of course, they got a guy named Bonner, so they got to be a pretty good team.
I'm anxious to see how Alabama responds. Their ship started to sink at Utah. They were #1 just before Christmas and then really struggled, but found their way into the tournament. Utah, by the way, with a big win today against Oregon. Henning. Masura checks in, number 34 for Austin Peay. Muhammad, watch out. Oh, boy, how about the hang time?
Well, Louisville just has a lot of guys. I mean,
El Haji Muhammad. Boy, every time he's been on the floor, there's been some instant offense. 4 buckets, 8 points. 81-54 Cardinals. Carmile working against Brown. Well, that was a heads-up play. Davis lost it and then tried to toss it off the ankle, the shin of Muhammad. Timeout.
Great is good. Ball never hit the rim, so the buzzer went off for the shot clock, but it's no shot clock violation because Louisville had already claimed the rebound.
Muhammad against the sophomore Levi Carmichael. Marvin Stone, as the Cardinals now spread it out and run some clock. 2:45 to play. Little lob. It was tipped and stolen. Taken down by Josh Lewis. To the corner. And a jumper. Anthony Davis. And a 2-pointer. 11 now for Davis. And that double-figure streak rolls on at 18 straight. Little tournament heritage. Dan, as we take you back, 1986, the last time Louisville won a national championship.
Never nervous Purvis Ellison had a big game, 24 points, 11 rebounds. Cardinals beat the Duke Blue Devils.
72-69 the final. You know, how about this, though? Louisville, before that 86 championship, was in the NIT in 85. They were in the NIT a year ago in 2002. You wonder if that repeats itself in 2003. That's what Cardinal fans are wondering.
Well, the other thing that Cardinal fans will tell you is in Louisville basketball history, their storied basketball history, they have 4 times won the 16 or more games in succession, and each year when they have had a winning streak like that, they have advanced to the Final Four in that particular season. We told you, 17-game winning streak this year, so the Cardinal fans certainly thinking they can advance to the Final Four. Carmichael makes that one. We talked about Austin Peay and losing here on this floor to Rick Pitino's Providence team back in 1987, but remember, this place has some good memories for Austin Peay because they won a first-round game, a huge upset over Ken Norman in Illinois. A fellow named Darrell Bedford stood outside and made 3-point basket after 3-point basket as Austin Peay, in one of the biggest upsets in NCAA history, beat the University of Illinois.
81-58. First bench points tonight scored by Austin Peay. 2 free throws by Levi Carmichael. Loose ball ends up in the hands of Igor Masura from Slovenia.
And we've been talking about some of the players who have ended their careers. A lot of seniors going out tonight. But this Austin Peay team, they start 4 juniors and a sophomore, and their first 3 guys off the bench are 2 freshmen and a sophomore. So this Austin Peay team, which, by the way, was picked to finish 5th in the Ohio Valley Conference in the preseason poll of sports information directors and coaches, and not one of these players was selected for the preseason Ohio Valley Conference team. These guys will all be back.
Lewis hits the free throw. Yeah, keep your eye next season on Dave Luce and Austin Peay. Brown will go out. with an applause from the Cardinal fans. Stone gathers in the loose or the missed free throw. 2 minutes left. 81-59 Louisville. Dan, as you watch tonight, I know Louisville's the 4th seed, but you have to like the way they play and how deep they are. And the defense that they have shown tonight with that pressing, smothering defense, you have to like their chances making some noise down the run here in this tournament.
Well, they're only a 4 seed because they struggled at the end of the year. They had that 17-game winning streak. They were among the best teams in the country.
Blocked away. Got a new one and all from the crowd here in Birmingham. Alley-oop! And the flush by Davis. 20 points. The lead by Louisville. Austin Peay, give him credit, still trying to work it down the court.
1 minute.
You mentioned an awful lot of young players for Dave Luce and Austin Peay. Of course, playing in the High Valley Conference, that's one of those leagues where you can have a great regular season, and unless you win your conference tournament, you might not be back in the NCAA tournament. Nadenov now hits a three. Might have.
Man, deep is the word. Long shot taken off the mark. Stone took too many steps with 30 ticks left on the clock. In time, Dan, to announce the Chevrolet Players of the Game. Josh Lewis for Austin Peay. 20 points. He had 8 of 9 from the floor. And Luke Whitehead, yeah, Reese Gaines had a nice, very strong game. But Whitehead, the double-double, 20 points, 11 rebounds.
And that has been a big key for this recent Louisville success. Again, Ellis Miles missing. You got to have somebody take up the slack on that in the perimeter and the inside positions. And certainly Luke Whitehead has done that very well.
Bobby Hill tried to spin it up. Last touch by the Cardinals. 17 seconds and change.
Josh Tinch coming in the game.
Has only played in 10 games, 31 minutes all season long, and the Cardinal fans give him an applause. Hill, a big body, couldn't get around Stone, but yet a foul with 12 seconds remaining. And that's 5 on Stone, so he goes out with 12 ticks left. Marvin Stone, 4 of 6 from the floor, 8 points.
Really battled foul trouble all night long, but when he was in, I thought he was very effective. And Stone, as you project Louisville going through the NCAA tournament, I think he's going to be a key guy. Louisville has to have that inside presence because they're not going to be able to, they're going to run into a game or two in the NCAA tournament where they're simply not going to be able to force as many turnovers and get as many easy baskets. And so they're going to have to get things done in the half court. And a guy like Marvin Stone will be critical to that effort.
Hill makes the first. You know, Marvin Stone's eligibility was in question. Remember, he missed 2 of the 3 final regular season games. He also missed the first Conference USA tournament game because of questions about eligibility, but since that time has been cleared. The show continues and the bench is dancing for Louisville. 86-62 at the buzzer, and it falls down, but what a show, Dan, by the Louisville Cardinals. They improved to 25-6. Austin Peay finishes out the season at 23-8. 86-64. $20 points for Luke Whitehead. Reese Gaines tossed in 16. And for the Governors of Austin Peay, it was a 19-point game for Josh Lewis. So Louisville moves on, and they will play the winner of Mississippi State and Butler. That will start 30 minutes from now here in Birmingham.
And I think Louisville, with all the things that have gone on, probably the most positive thing to happen to the Cardinals tonight is Francisco Garcia was okay after that scary-looking injury. He could come back.
86-64 the final. And let's go to Brett Haber, standing by with Louisville head coach Rick Pitino.
All right, Craig, thanks very much. Rick, I know that pressure defense can sometimes be hard to sell to kids because it's a lot of work, but tonight has got to be living proof that it works.
No question. And you know why kids like it? It is hard work, but they get easy points. And anytime you can convince them of that, it works. But you know what? We did a great job of passing the basketball, too, which allowed us to get into pressure. Austin Peay had a fabulous year. We beat a good team tonight.
Talk about the courage of Francisco Garcia coming back from what looked like a very serious injury.
Yeah, I was just so happy when I heard there was nothing unstable. So I'm delighted with that. He's a tremendous player and a big offensive key to our team.
Coach, thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brett. Thank you, Rick. 86-64 the final. Let's go back to New York. And here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, gentlemen, thank you.